Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Anna. If you're new, if not, welcome back. As you can tell, I have my coffee in hand, and from the title of this video, I'm going to be doing a video that I haven't really done before. I want to have some more chill, laid-back videos where I get to just talk to you guys about some real-life stuff. Today is a more lighthearted video. It is the 21 things that I've learned in my 21 years of age thus far. Today is my actual 21st birthday. It is December 6th, my 21st birthday, like I said. And basically every birthday I like to sit down and kind of just reflect on the life lessons, the obstacles I overcame in my last year of life, and just the memories I made, the people that are in my life. So I wanted to start doing this video hopefully every birthday and just reflect on what I've learned in the year prior. So basically, this is also my first video for Vlogmas. Cheers to that. Grab your drink of choice, coffee, tea, water, wine, or a snack. This is my first video of Vlogmas. I meant to start uploading last week, but I had a big issue with my camera battery. My camera battery charger. I just couldn't find it. I go more into it into a vlog from this past weekend, so go check that out if I've uploaded it already after you watch this video. So if you want to know the 21 things that I've learned in my life so far, keep on watching. And I love you guys so much, and I'm very grateful for every single one of you, and I am very thankful for all your birthday wishes. So as you guys can tell, I'm in my Gainesville apartment. I am in a black sweat set. Very fitting on my bed. Just wanted to relax and have this video be super laid back and chill. And so basically I'm just going to go through my list and just let you guys know what I've learned, what I am still currently learning. This list is ever growing, and I feel like you never stop learning in life, which is very important to know. Just because I'm mentioning these things does not mean I have it put together. It doesn't mean that I've figured it all out, or that I even do these things like every single day, because it's so hard to just be perfect. We're never going to be perfect. We're constantly growing and evolving as people. And so basically, let's just get right into it. So the number one thing that I've learned this year is that family is truly and utterly the most important people in your life. I have gotten closer to my mom this year than I ever have. Same with my brother, same with my dad. You also see the value of your family when you go off to college, or at least that's been my case scenario. I know a lot of people unfortunately do not have the fortune that I have had, that both my parents are still married, that both of my parents are very much in my life, that I have a very healthy relationship with both my parents. And that's another thing to keep in mind with family, is that your family doesn't necessarily need to be your blood family. It could be friends, it could be extended family, but I've really learned that, especially for my close-knit family. Growing up, I was a rebellious teenager, as most people were. I struggled with my relationship with my mom, and this year it was just a whole new experience for us. We've really grown, like, really close together. Same with my parents. And I guess I kind of had realized this when I had never realized how close we were, because I come from a Hispanic background. Both my parents are Colombian. So for me, family has always been very vital. Like, I've always been very close with both sides, mom and dad side of the family. We see them both have very healthy relationships with both sides. So I guess I never had really realized it, but one of my brother's friend's mom, she had turned to me in the middle of one of his games and just like had looked at me and said, "That's your brother, right?" And I had answered her yes, and she was like, "It warms my heart and gives me hope to see your relationship with your brother." You didn't know, I have a brother. He is 12 years old. He is 9 years younger than me. He was born after 9 years of me being alive. My mom lost 2 babies before him, so he was our miracle child. His name is Mateo, which means gift from God, which is truthfully what he was to our life and to my family, and especially in my life. He changed my world forever. And because of our big age gap, I feel like we have a very unique relationship as siblings when I compare it to my boyfriend's sibling or relationship with his siblings, because they're only 2 years apart. So they're more like, they're just different dynamics as siblings. And so basically she said that, and I kind of had asked her why, and she got emotional and said just like her kids weren't as close. And I told her siblings will always fight, like just because I'm here or whatever doesn't mean we don't get into small arguments. But I mean, forever he will be my baby. And so I just have really learned that this year, that my family is really the people that I'm going to have in my life for forever. They're never going to leave me. They've never left me, and they've accepted me as I am, and I've never had to pretend to be somebody that I'm not. But also, I am the first to leave my house and like kind of leave my house. Like I go home all the time, but to leave my house like fully. All my cousins went to college or university in Columbia, and I'm the first one to do it because in the United States we do it differently. I am the first one to go to college in my family as well, for both my parents. So leaving home was something very new for all of us. It was an experience that we didn't learn. So as most of you know, I went to Tallahassee. I went to FSU for my freshman year and then came here. And from being away from home, even though it's not super far, I have made really close friends in college that have become like family as well. And I've become people that I trust with my entire life and that have just helped me grow as a person. And I think that's important to know, that family will help you grow as well as love you in your imperfections. And so for my next one, it's a super important one, and it's one that I'm constantly reminding myself of, and I think a lot of us need to be reminded of it, and it's to live in the now and do what you want to do now. Don't put it off till 20 years later. Don't put it off till next year. Like if you want to do something, like do it now, obviously within your means of finances or abilities and anything. But I say to also live in the now, because unfortunately our phones take up so much of our time and our energy, and we're constantly looking at our phones, and I'm guilty of this. It literally happened last night where my boyfriend and I were watching a movie, and I was on Snapchat, TikTok aimlessly, and I have to check myself a lot of the times, and I love that he keeps me accountable as well as other people in my lives, where like in my family we put our phones down during dinner time just to spend time with like people that you love and that you care for, and give them genuine time and not so much screen time. Like screen time takes away from so many experiences in our life or distracts us, and it's a fun and it's so powerful, but it could also be such a harmful thing because we're constantly on our phones. And so I definitely want to work on that, and that's a goal for myself next year. And it is something that I've learned, is to live in the now, stop living behind a screen, or stop anticipating. I do that so much where I worry about what the next thing I'm going to do is, what my next step in life is going to be, or I just contemplate a lot of things and I find myself getting in my head a lot. And so when I do that, it's just hard for me to live in the now because I'm worrying about what exam I have to take or just anything that's going on in my life. And it's so important to just appreciate the current moment, because you don't know when you're going to get it back. You don't know if you're ever going to relive it. And just to also do what you want is like, well, sometimes when you postpone things, unfortunately, God in life just sends you something your way that you weren't expecting, maybe an illness, maybe a death, maybe an injury, anything it could be. And so it's just difficult and hard, and it's just something that we should all be doing. If you want to take that trip, if you want to write that letter, if you want to send that text, like do it, and don't just wait until later on in life. And so then going into my next point, it's kind of has something to do with the number 2. Number 3 is say I love you more to the people that you love. I think oftentimes I myself, and I've had this conversation with my mom. My mom's very good at saying I love you, but I've had this conversation with my mom and with many people in my life where older generations or even our generations, we're not used to saying I love you as much as we should be. And one minute you could have the person you love and the next minute they could be gone. And it's just such a scary thing to think about. And you just want to always like be telling the person that you love them, I know I'm one of my love languages is words of affirmation in a way that is being told I love you constantly by the people who surround me. And it just, those words have like such an impact in my life, and I use them for specific people in my life as well. So I just want to make sure that I'm constantly telling the people that I love them, because you don't know if you're going to see them the next day. The only thing we're guaranteed in life, like my parents say, is to be born and to die. Everything in between, there's no guarantee of anything. So it's just a tough pill to swallow, but again, that goes with living in the now. Like, if you have somebody that you love them, literally right now, like, pull out your phone and send them that text, call them, send them a voice note, send them a letter, send them whatever, just so they know that you love them and like there's no doubt in their mind. And again, number 4, that kind of goes with my other previous 2 things that I've learned, is to forgive more easily and don't hang on to the little things. This is something that I've had to learn a lot in my life, and it's something that I constantly have to check myself to really put into practice. Sometimes forgiving people who do you wrong, or situations, or even God, that you kind of hang on to the little things. And I've heard it many times where if it's not going to matter in 5 minutes, just don't, if it's not going to matter in 5 minutes, don't spend more than that caring about it and giving it time and energy. Also, when you forgive people, you let that piece inside of you go. And sometimes when I've gone to therapy, I've had a therapist tell me, even if you don't want to tell that person to their face, I forgive you, write them a letter, write them an email. Never send it if you don't want to, but actually putting down those words into writing, in your handwriting, in an email, in a text, it releases you from something that you just need to. My dad got very sick about a year or 2 ago. It was right before I came to Gainesville and had moved here, and I remember the doctor said something where if you stay quiet for so long about certain things, you start to get internally sick, because you're kind of just filling yourself with hatred, or you're filling yourself with unforgiveness. Not saying that that's what his case was, but I've seen that a lot, and the power that forgiveness has. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to forget what people have done to you, but if you forgive them, even if it's just internally, you don't tell anybody else, it can have a really, really big impact on you, and you just get to breathe a little bit more, have a weight lifted off your shoulders. And I think that's super important for us, because we shouldn't be putting anything onto ourselves that we shouldn't be, and holding on to things because maybe you're not forgiving somebody, but that person might have forgiven themselves, or they're not even giving 2 thoughts about it. So now you're taking away from your own peace, which you should never do, and giving it to somebody else, and meanwhile they didn't even care. And so then my next lesson number 5 that I've learned is to not settle on anything, whether that is your work, your major, your relationships, whether that's a romantic one, friendship, family, anything. As many of you know, once again, I went to FSU. When I first originally went into college, I was a pre-med major. I wanted to be the first doctor in my family, and then I started taking classes and kind of just realized that I didn't, and I spent my entire life thinking I was going to be a doctor. I interned at hospitals in high school. I had internships. I watched surgeries, and I never got queasy with blood, never anything. And then I started taking all these classes when I got into college, and in Columbia, college works differently, so that may be why it was a little difficult for my parents to understand. Kind of when you go into college there, you don't really change your major. It's not as easy, because once you graduate your 4 years, like, that's kind of it. Here it's 4 years, then med school, then a residency. Like, it's a little bit different. And so basically I went into college, took all these classes. After my first semester, I said, this isn't for me. I don't feel happy. It also kind of helped that I wanted to transfer and obviously getting in would have been easier as a business major or something else other than med, because the medical program here, pre-health, is so phenomenal. But I personally just didn't feel identified in that career, and I sat down and had the very difficult conversation with my parents, who are immigrants, and sometimes for them it's a little more difficult to understand certain things with how college works here, especially because I had nobody else to talk to really, and just kind of explain that I was going to change my major, as well as transfer universities. They knew I wanted to transfer the entire time, but the transferring or switching of majors was a little more hard to for them to swallow, just because as immigrant parents, as many people could probably relate, in other countries, the only type of careers that are deemed successful are engineers, are doctors, are lawyers, and CEOs. So it's just things like that. And I have told them and expressed to them I have full intentions of being a CEO, hopefully, if I one day have the finances for that. But just that the medical path was not for me, and that public relations was a major that I felt much more identified with. At first, they didn't agree with my decision, and it was a little more difficult, or at least my dad. But then when he saw me being in majors and being passionate about what I talk about and lighting up when I talk about my major and what I've learned about actually caring about the classes that I'm in, he started to understand more and to just accept what I had done. Not that it was ever really his decision, but see why I did what I did. And so now we have conversations about it, and they've always supported me, but it's just sometimes a little bit different. This goes into my next point. They kind of all overlap if you didn't see the overlying trend. Make decisions for you. This is so important, like literally you in capital letters. In life, sometimes we put ourselves on the back burner, and sometimes I feel like I've done that myself, where I just put myself on the back burner, only really take other people's how they're feeling, and I'm a very giving person, and that's something that's awesome, but that's something that is a good and bad thing, just because you never want to neglect yourself. Also, when making a decision for you, I've never been the person who does drugs. I've never been the person who really drinks a lot, for that matter. And so you never want to be peer pressured into doing things that you don't want to do, even if that means you miss out on a party, or you miss out on an event, or you don't fit in with a certain type of friend group, or you miss out on a friendship. And so just making decisions that are best for you and that are going to be the best for you is just the way to do it. You shouldn't have to succumb to other people's thoughts and opinions, and just make decisions for you that are going to make you happy at the end of the day, that when your head hits the pillow at the end of the night, you can say you're satisfied with what you did that day, or that you agreed with what you did that day, and that it was something that made you happy and fulfilled you. Now we're going to get into a couple of things that I've learned with finances, which is lesson number 7, be intelligent with your money. Obviously, when you get to college, many people get a credit card. I have 2. And you want to be really smart with your money. You don't want to spend your money aimlessly. You don't want to spend it on stupid things. You don't want to blow through money. You also have to start paying taxes in your 20s. And you need to have money for those taxes occasionally. I know that that's happened to me a couple of times since I've had certain jobs in retail and the restaurant industry. And I've had conversations with my parents about this, where they don't want me to make some decisions that they might have made and that they saw that it was a mistake, and they want me to learn from it. You also learn a lot about money. And another very important thing is lesson number 8, which is learn how to budget and to start saving your money starting now. After college, most people move out. There are a bunch of people who move back in. Whatever your journey is your journey, and that's awesome. But I have started saving money because I would hopefully like to move to another city, that goal being Miami, and obviously I would be living on my own. I would be providing for myself. I would be my main provider. It would be my responsibility. You are now turning into an adult. I am an adult, and I can't rely on my parents obviously to fully fund my life anymore. So you need to start saving, so when you move into that apartment, you can get yourself a couple of nice things, or you can pay for certain things that maybe you didn't have the opportunity to, or you could have a nicer apartment, live in a nicer area. And also budget has been like the really big thing that I've learned this year, is having the money that you have and then learning what's going to gas, what's going to tolls. Like I drive home, so well, how much is the turnpike going to be? How much is my utilities going to be for rent, water, Wi-Fi we pay here, your rent, and so learning how to budget, and groceries and all these expenses, personal expenses, beauty expenses like my nails, like there's just things that you have to learn to budget for, so you don't make stupid decisions with your money and then you're sitting there and you're out of money, or you're having to like go over on your credit card and you don't really have the money to pay for it. So that's a really, really big one. Number 9, I believe, is to invest in experiences and not material things. And I had a friend once where we would gift each other experiences. I remember for my birthday, we went and got to play with, or we got to feed sloths, and we went to like the the zoo down in Miami, and then I gifted her an experience where we went and got to like hold a monkey, and it was just like an experience. And I remember that's a birthday I'll never forget. It was a birthday also, actually thinking about it, because it was something that I'll forever remember. I have pictures from it. It wasn't a material item that I was given. Yes, receiving makeup and clothes is awesome, but a lot of my makeup runs out. A lot of my clothes stop to fit, like don't fit anymore, or they go out of style. And so yes, buying material things is fun and cool and nice in the moment, but also just like a little kid, when you give them something new, they're super enthusiastic about it and it's super cool. But then like after a week, it's kind of just like, okay, like I have it, like next thing. And there's like a never ending cycle of wanting the next best thing or wanting something new. And investing in experiences like traveling. I love traveling, and I would much rather save my money, not go out for a night and go to a nice restaurant, go be able to travel around the world. And I thank my parents for that, because when I was 15, I wanted the big quinceañera and have the dress, because that's a really big thing in our culture. And my mom said, no, we're sending you to Europe. And so my aunt has a travel agency, and I did the same trip all my cousins did when they had turned 15. And I traveled to Europe for 26 days all by myself in Europe with 70 girls that I met at the airport. And it was hands down the best experience I've ever had, the best birthday present I could have ever been given. I still talk to many of the girls to this day. I have plans to visit them hopefully very soon. I got to learn about different cultures, different food, landmarks. Like I have pictures still on my Instagram, like way down below, where I went to the Eiffel Tower. I literally started in London and ended in Barcelona. Like I went all over. I went to Germany, I went to Italy, I went on a cruise in Spain. Like it was insane. And it was in Switzerland. Like there was just so many memories, and it just is so amazing. And I'm such a person who loves to travel and just enjoys and would rather skip out on a night out and be able to like do something like that, or even just go to a nice dinner and have a meaningful conversation with somebody. I think is really, really important and nice for you to have that mentality and to learn. Obviously, I am very guilty of buying things as well, or asking for things that are material. I think we all are. But learning how to have a nice balance of both is something good. Lesson number 10, learn how to balance work, school life, and then social life. I say school because obviously I'm still an undergrad, whether you're in high school, whether you're in college, whether you're in your graduate years, or in work. This I technically consider work. So learning how to put everything on a balance and know what's important, what's not, what's going to better serve you in the future, what is going to benefit you, and just your social life as well. Like I said, skip out on a couple of nights if that means studying for an exam and getting an A, or advancing your career, just whatever it is. Like you need to learn how to do a balance. Like not everything can be play or having fun. You also have to work hard and be able to just do something better for you, because sometimes you have to just do things like that. It'll go in with another point that I'm saying in a little bit later. But yeah, learning how to have a healthy work-life balance and social life is very important, because you also don't want to like only work or only study, because then you're missing out on the pleasures of life and not living life to the fullest. And you shouldn't also have to put, again, your social life on the back burner just to only do school. Like, you're meant to enjoy life as well. My next lesson, lesson 11, is learn to stand for what you believe in and not adopt others' mentality. This is super important, especially in today's day of age where there's so much controversy and differing of opinions politically and just so much. And it doesn't matter what side you're on. It doesn't matter about anything. Like, if you believe something, believe it for you. You shouldn't have to change for other people. Same thing with friendship. You should be able to have open-minded conversations with somebody and not judge them for something or a way that they feel, and just like accept them and respect it, and not have to feel like you need to shut somebody else down to get your point across or have them change. Like, I have my thoughts and how I feel about certain things, and you have yours, and like, that's fine. Like, there shouldn't be like a point of contention. And that's super important as well to think about. And it shows signs of maturity and just being able to stand up for yourself, like what you believe in, like that's what you believe in. Obviously, there's exceptions with everything, but standing up for yourself is a really big thing, especially as you get older. You don't want to be peer pressured or have to do certain things that maybe you don't want to do. So that goes with that as well. Another really big one is to learn to eliminate negative and toxic people. Unfortunately, I don't think there's ever going to be a time in anybody's life where you don't have to do this. Unfortunately, people come and go out of your life, or people come and try to stay and they don't serve you a purpose. Sometimes people come into your life for certain seasons of your life, and sometimes they just aren't the greatest for you, and it's a difficult conversation to have. But if somebody is taking away from your peace or from your happiness, or is making you feel like you need to walk on eggshells, or just certain situations where you don't feel good on the inside, like, you need to learn how to respectfully and in a loving way be able to remove that person and kind of just distance yourself. That doesn't mean you need to maybe fully cut them off. Every situation's different. Sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. Every situation's different, and you should be able to just have an honest conversation with that person, a mature conversation, and just for your own mental health and just sanity and happiness. Because at the end of the day, like, you need to make you happy. Like, you shouldn't be worried about making anybody else happy. As selfish as it does sound, learning how to be selfish with certain things is also very, very important, because at the end of the day, like, you have to live with you. You kind of don't really need to live with anybody else. But also, like, again, learning a balance, and everything is a balance in life. So just, if something's taking away from your peace, like, get rid of it. Like, there's no reason for you to need to hang on to that anymore. And it's not fair to put yourself through that. The next one, which goes with my work life, school balance, social life, is to lesson number 13 kind of goes with it too. Learn how to say no. Learning how to say no is something that I'm still working on. I think many of us are still working on. If I don't feel like doing something, it's fine to say no. A real friend wouldn't get upset with you if you say, hey, no, I think I'm going to skip out on this for tonight. Or I think I'm not going to do this. Thanks for the invite. I appreciate it. Love you. Not going to go. Just do things for you. It goes with being selfish, obviously to a healthy degree and a healthy balance. But learning how to say no for things that you don't want to do, you don't care to do, maybe something that won't serve you, something that just you don't feel adds any benefit to your life. you don't have to go. I feel oftentimes we feel, in a way, pressured by society to have to say yes to every opportunity or yes to every time going out, because I know I've struggled a lot with that in college, where I wouldn't say I'm the most party clubbing person. Obviously I like to go out and have my fun, but I wouldn't say that it's an every night, especially not every week type of thing for me. And so it's been a challenge, but one that I've really had to learn in college, to say no to certain things, or feeling like the pressure that the only way I can make friends in college is by going out. And as I go through college, like, I've learned and made friends who aren't only about going out, or I only like hang out with them in going out settings. Like, no, like, I want friendships that I'm gonna have for life, where if I'm going through something personally, I can go to them and I can go and just tell them and not have to go out and drink or like do all these things and be like in social settings. So that's like a really big one for me, is to learn how to say no and, like, again, stick up for yourself in that way, and make those friendships and relationships in your life that allow you to say no, and they don't make you feel guilty about it, or they don't make you feel horrible for not wanting to go. The next one is lesson number 14, learning how to manage when you feel lost, which is very normal and happens all the time in your 20s. I've literally already gone through this multiple times. This year, when I changed my major, it goes with that as well, like that life lesson of many of us are in college when we are in our 20s, obviously, and feeling lost is so normal, but it sucks at the same time, like not knowing what you want to do with your life. And in your 20s, you're making all these life decisions that affect you for the rest of your life. You're choosing a career path, you're choosing a school, you're possibly getting into a relationship, you're choosing the friends that might be around in your life for forever, you're choosing a city where you want to live, like all these different things that will affect your life later on, and affect it immediately. And it's very easy to feel lost. I felt lost when I changed my major. I felt lost when I first got here, and I felt like I had to restart with making friends and being the new girl and not ever being the new girl. I felt lost with feeling like I need to go out to make friends in college when that isn't my preferred like activity to hang out with friends and meet people in all the time. And so feeling lost has been something I've struggled with, but something I've needed to learn and have learned how to kind of go through. And I've just always had that feeling, but just constantly have been working on improving it. I don't think there'll ever be a moment where sometimes we don't occasionally feel lost or don't know what to do in certain situations, but you kind of just like start to learn how to deal with it going through. And it goes with standing up for yourself. It goes through normalizing and saying, okay, like, it's normal that I feel lost. The next one is your dreams are going to cost you, lesson number 15, your dreams are going to cost you to have to make sacrifices in life, whether that's sacrificing a night out, sacrificing an opportunity, sacrificing maybe a holiday with family, sacrificing missing birthdays, just different things, hangouts with friends, or maybe like having a normal college experience. Just different things are going to cost you different sacrifices, to force you to have to make sacrifices in life. It goes with wanting to start your career. You might have to sacrifice a summer of traveling and have to go somewhere to do an internship. And there's just different things in life depending on your career path, or different dreams and goals that you have in your life that you're going to have to make sacrifices for. I know occasionally I've wanted to go out but wanted to film a video, and so I made the sacrifice of not doing that to film a video, or I have to come and finish and do my last 2 classes in person, and I had to be up here, so I had to sacrifice being at home with family. Like, some of them are small, some of them are bigger. It doesn't make them any easier, any harder. So just knowing that and being okay with making sacrifices, because you're never going to accomplish your dreams and your goals if you don't make sacrifices along the way. That's just kind of how it goes. And so it's good and it's important to like normalize that. The next one is to stop caring what people think. that's such a big one. And the next lesson is to not compare yourself with other people, which kind of goes hand in hand. Not caring what people think is something people struggle with all along in their life, whether that's a difference of opinions, how you look, if you look stupid uploading pictures because you want to do something, or making videos, like talking to a camera. People are going to judge you for absolutely everything in your life. And at the end of the day, like, if you're happy doing what you're doing, like, why should it matter? Like, why should anybody's opinion influence anything in your life, and have any, like, influence on what you do? So it's just important to acknowledge that their opinion has no place in your life unless it's something that's constructive. If maybe, like, you're in a relationship you shouldn't be, or you have a friend or anything and they're like, hey, like, blah blah blah, and saying in a caring, nice way. Also, to not compare yourself is so big, because I think the quote goes, like, the comparison is the thief of happiness. And it's something we're all guilty of, especially in today's day and age where social media is so prominent, and you see all these skinny supermodels on Instagram who have the perfect body and look perfect at all times. But it's important to know that they don't look like that. Sometimes and a lot of the times they're retouching their pictures. You don't wake up with a full face of makeup. Like right now, I put makeup on to do this video. I did my hair. My hair is naturally wavy and it's frizzy, and I do it to get put together. Like, it doesn't mean I woke up like this. Like, there's no perfect. Like, perfect doesn't exist. And so it's important to be like, and I often find myself I often catch myself doing it, where I'm like, oh, she's so much prettier than me, or her life is so together, or she has an internship or that job and I want it, and like, I'm not there. I don't know if I can get there. And it's like, stop comparing yourself. Like, everyone has different trajectories in their life, and everyone has different ways to get there, and different body types, different looks, different genes. Like, there's all these different things that contribute to it. So it's so important to be happy and okay with where you're at, but also not getting jealous or not feeling like you need to alter yourself to look a certain way. Like with injections, not that I'm against them, but if you want to do something for yourself, like, do it, but don't do it because you feel like you need to fit a certain mold of something. But also, like, to not compare yourself, like, on social media. Like, social media isn't real. Like, my Instagram, my YouTube, it's a highlight reel of my life. I'm never gonna film myself fighting with my parents, or with my boyfriend, or with my brother, or with a friend. Like, I show you, and everyone who's on social media shows what they want to show. No one's gonna, like, show themselves when they look sick and have 101 fever and they look like shit, or like when they, like, are going through something and, like, open up about it. Some people do, some people don't, but, like, remember, like, your social media is a highlight reel of your life. The next one is so lesson number 18, I believe, is there's no finish line, or there's no timeline, or there is a finish line, there's no timeline. That's what I meant to say. There's no timeline of how things are going to be done. It's all in God's plan for your life, and your life was written before you were born, and how you're going to get through life is something that only He knows. And basically that just goes with being like, there's this mentality and this pressure from society that you need to be married by a certain age, you need to be dating at a certain age, you need to have kids at a certain age, or you need to do something. If a woman doesn't want to have a kid in their late 20s or in their 30s, there's, like, pressure on them that they don't want to have a child, or that they're not married yet and they're, like, already 30 years old. Like, there's just so many pressures from society. But again, everyone's life is so different, in their timeline, in the way that they're meant to do things in life and go through life is so different. Men, female, like, everybody, like, it's just, everyone has a different way of getting to their finish line, of achieving their goal, of achieving their dream. And just because your path doesn't look like somebody else's, or your path doesn't look like what society deems as normal, doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, or doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you if it takes you a little bit longer to do it than somebody else, or you do it faster. So that's a really big one. And I think that the next one is something so important that I work with or that I am constantly working on, and I think a lot of people are, and it's learning how to say sorry and learning to own your mistakes and actions and not make any excuses and kind of just say like, I'm sorry for this, and like being able to have those hard conversations that it might not be easy, and not always view yourself as like this perfect person or as this person who could do no harm, but also not make yourself feel like you're a terrible person at the same time. Again, there's a balance. And so learning how to say sorry will put you at peace, that person at peace, and just helps you build character and your personality as a person. So learning how to say sorry is super, super important. And then lesson number 20, we're down to the final 2. This is a big one that I saw this year, is if something didn't work out, there was a reason for it, even if you don't see it right now. And that's so important. It's something I constantly remind myself of. It's something my parents constantly remind me of, my boyfriend, like literally everybody in my life. I think it's very important for all of us to hear constantly is there's a reason why that door closed. One door closes for another one to open, and certain opportunities weren't for you. Certain people weren't in your life. Once again, it goes with people being in your life for certain seasons. So a friendship closed, the door closed to that, a relationship, just certain things and experiences and things in life get closed, unfortunately. So it's being okay with it closing and saying, okay, maybe I don't understand what this is right now, but maybe one day I will, or maybe I will never, but kind of just like understanding and accepting that. And the last and final lesson, my 21st lesson, is loving yourself. This is by far the most important lesson. It goes with all of them. It goes with being happy. If you love yourself, you're happy. Not comparing yourself, loving your body, loving your physical features, loving your mind, loving your soul, loving the person you are. Loving yourself is the most important thing, because once you love yourself and you accept yourself as the way that you are and the way that you were made, you will live such a happy and fulfilling life. And so it's super important that we love ourselves and that we're nice to ourselves and we're kind to ourselves and we speak encouraging words of ourselves, even though it's not always that easy. But that's definitely something important to learn and work on constantly, because it's something we all struggle with. It's something we all need to constantly improve. So yeah, that is the end of my video. I am so happy you guys joined me for my 21 lessons in my life. This was a little bit longer than I anticipated it to be, but I'm not mad about it. You guys kind of got to learn a little bit more about me, hopefully, through this video, and just my family background and just certain relationships in my life, certain important people in my life, and maybe a little bit more about the type of person that I am in my heart. And so I had a lot of fun filming this, even though it was a more relaxed and laid back video. I had so much fun filming this, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in the next one, probably tomorrow. Once again, thank you for all the birthday wishes. I will see you guys in the next video. I love you guys.